Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago and beyond. This is Cognitive Dissonance. Every episode we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes the news, makes it big, or makes us mad. It's skeptical, it's political, and there is no welcome mat. Today is Friday, January the 2nd, 2026. Cecil, Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year, Tom. Hey, do you have any predictions for this upcoming year?
It's going to be a shit show. Oh, brother.
Yeah.
Look, 2025, not the best.
Sure.
I will say, I don't think anybody is looking back at 2025 and saying man, that was a good time.
Very few
glad.
people.
Yeah, no. Fucking glad to see the back of 2025. I am glad to see the fucking back of 2025. 2026, I don't know, man. Politically speaking, I am hopeful that maybe the Democrats will get their shit together. We'll talk about it. There's some stories about it in the show. Maybe we can actually get some work done to have an even less productive Congress, a more cock-blocky Congress.
Yeah.
I think that'd be the best case scenario there. I am curious, though, Cecil, do you do New Year's resolutions?
I don't.
I don't either. Have you ever done a New Year's resolution?
No, I think just I don't pay attention to time that way. I don't look at time like that. I'm not I'm going to wait until this moment to do the thing. I'm if I feel like I need to do a thing, I should just do it. I shouldn't be well, I'll put it off until the next year. I mean,
I am I'm a sucker. So I am a big sucker for forced opportunities for reflection. I have always been that. I'll look at a holiday, but it is an opportunity to reflect.
Oh, I see
should take that opportunity.
Yeah, sure.
But New Year's has never been it.
No.
New Year's has never been it for me. I've never been you know what, I'm going to get in shape. It's look, either I'm going to do that or I'm not.
Yeah, you got to do it when you say it. If you say it out loud, you should do it that moment is when you should do it.
I've never been tomorrow's a good day for that. If tomorrow's a good day for it, it's not fucking happening.
I think the reason why a lot of people do the in shape right after the holidays is because the holidays just offer so much food that there's just this moment where you're if I do it now, if I start on the 12th of December, I'm going to just ruin my shit for the next 3 weeks because there's always cookies in the house. There's always
it's
fucking
Fat Bear Week over here.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking man. It's I'm fucking, dude, I'll eat a fat bear. I'll eat the whole thing. I'll eat the whole thing. If you serve that, you dip that thing in chocolate and rolled it in powdered sugar, that motherfucker, that thing is it is in my belly. Are you kidding me? So I think that's why a lot of people do it around the holidays because they're I don't want to miss ham on New Year's or whatever. And so then they just get on the treadmill day 2.
I strongly suspect that I have really unhealthy habits around body image and food. 'Cause I do weigh myself almost every day, but not in December, I don't. I got up this morning and I was I should get back on the scale. And I was I should get back down to the gym at least 2 or 3 days first.
To the gym first. And then do it.
I was no, I don't feel that's a good thing for me. What about predictions? Do you have any predictions for 26?
Yes, I think, country-wise, I am going to predict that we will have boots on the ground military in another country this year. I think we are going to have,
man.
Could be Venezuela, but it could be somewhere else, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be there. But I think boots on the ground military action, not a welcome in sort of action, not oh, we need help with this, come help us. I'm thinking more.
Does it count if it's domestic? Because I'm a little worried about that.
I mean, domestic's already happened, so we can't
more domestic.
That's not a prediction. You know what I mean? That's a
right. Yeah.
That's a. If you weren't paying attention to the news, it's a prediction.
Right.
But
yeah.
if you are, then it's not a prediction. So I genuinely think though. And the thing is we are boots on the ground in other countries. I'm just saying as an act of aggression, I think there will be an act of a military act of aggression. That's my guess. And predictions are shit, like literally worthless, right? Nobody fucking knows anything. It's always just a crapshoot. But I do think there are, if you shook that magic 8 ball today, signs point to yes. You know what I mean? Where you're starting to see more and more of this. And I also think when you get an alcoholic who literally renames the entire thing the fucking Department of War because he's got such a war boner, he can't control himself. I think that's also another reason why there's going to be more aggression in that department, just because this guy can't control himself.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I also think it's an opportunity for Trump to do what he's seen many other presidents do in the past, which is when he's backed into a corner, if he becomes a military president, that he gets a lot more support from people who are sycophantic to military action.
Yeah. Automatically.
Right? So I think that's we certainly saw it with George W. Bush. George W. Bush was not a functional and popular president.
Oh, he was trashed before 9/11.
Yeah, and then 9/11 happened, and all of a sudden he sailed into his second term because America was like, we're not getting rid of a wartime president, And I do worry, that Trump will use war to, if not, I have been thinking about this. I'm glad you brought up the war thing, because I was wondering, Trump cannot run for a third term. And I know that like the Constitution has strict safeguards, but I'm also like, fucking Clarence Thomas doesn't give a shit about fuck. So I do wonder if in the event of a major war, rather than run for a third term, if there will not be a way to simply extend the length of the second term.
Yeah.
Be like, this really isn't a good time to have a democracy, guys. We're going to press pause on the whole democracy. Because that's what a lot of tin pot dictators and autocrats in the past have done.
Yeah.
Is what they've done is they've just extended the length of their existing term. So I'm like, can we?
Yeah, and if you get into a real conflict, I think a lot of people would be like, well, we can't right now.
You can't have a change of leadership in wartime.
Yeah. And if you're the one who's sort of pushing for that, you can sort of stack the deck in your favor. So that's a huge negative. The huge positive is the huge positive numbers that are his age. Like that's the thing.
Right,
Like the huge positive is 80, 81, 82. That's how old he's going to be when he finally finishes up his term. So
but he's getting executive checkups with MRIs.
All you need is an executive checkup, and they zap him with the life extension technology.
Dude, I was watching, Haley and I, we almost never watch any actual we don't have a cable service.
Yeah.
But now, with your TV, with your smart TV, you can watch certain channels that have built-in commercials and shit built into them. We were watching something the other day that had these commercials, which we almost never see commercials because we're just Netflix and Hulu and whatever people.
Yeah.
And we saw this commercial for basically it's go get an MRI of your whole body and pay for it. And then if we find anything, you can take it to your doctor. And I was like, I immediately thought of Trump.
Yeah.
I immediately thought of Trump.
It's MRI. It's
MRI.
amazing.
Yeah. It's you can get everybody now has access to the executive bathroom. It's just an executive bathroom key.
Aren't there Hulu commercials?
Not if you pay $8 extra or something.
Okay, you got to pay extra. I don't do that.
Yeah, you pay dude, I'll pay fucking infinite money to avoid a commercial.
I didn't realize there was an extra. I didn't realize
if you pay a couple extra bucks a month more, then you don't have any commercials.
I get commercials on there all the time. I'm like, God damn it, this is a fucking paying you. What are you doing, man?
Dude, I literally can't do commercials. I can't do them. They make my skin crawl now.
It sucks so bad because you're in the middle of something and you're like, I'm watching this. I can't believe for our entire life we had to deal with
We just did it all. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and I'm going to be fucking old man yells at cloud some more, but whatever. The commercials now are worse. They're low quality because they know that not as many people are watching them.
There's no reason to invest in it. Yeah.
When we were kids, commercials were these big fucking productions, big ad companies. They were big productions. They were actually part of the cultural zeitgeist. These commercials were we remember certain commercials growing up. You remember the Cindy Crawford Pepsi jingles? Commercials?
Yeah.
Everybody remembers certain commercials, built into but now the commercials are ultra shitty, super low quality, really bad. I went and got insurance. You should too. It's over. And that's the commercial where it's hey, this medicine has got a lot of side effects. Most of the commercial's just going to name them. And then here's somebody running in a field.
Guy. We got the Micro Machines guy to name him. It could cause. He sounds like he's talking in tongues. You're like, come on. There's not that many.
I fucking love that shit because it'll be like, yeah, this medicine may cause bleeding from the anus, explosive face syndrome, like all this like horrible shit. And then it'll stop and be like, and if you want your life back, try fucking Hujamana or whatever. And you're just, and it has a crazy name because every medicine has a crazy sounding name.
And they're always spelled Nordically. I don't know why that is. Every medicine has like a vestigial J in it for some reason. You're like, what the fuck is that?
Dude, my favorite is the warning, like, don't take this if you're allergic to it. And it's like, well, no, what, you gotta fucking say that? What? Like, can you imagine somebody's like, I knew I was allergic to it, but nobody said not to take the thing I was allergic to? There's somebody like snorting a fucking cat out there right now. Like, I got a kitten stuck up my nose.
Also, there's not a small number of these where they'll say, if you have thoughts of suicide, stop taking immediately. You're like, what in the sweet fuck am I taking?
Oh man. Like, and it'll be a medicine for like athlete's foot or some shit too, right? It'll be like, it's not even like a psychiatric med. It's like, and you know, some studies show that you'll kill yourself if you try this. But like not a lot of you. Man. And you're like, what are you talking about?
I just took Mucinex. Like, I know. It's like I just wanted to breathe for the evening. I didn't want to kill myself. What the fuck?
That like finasteride, that shit like to make you grow your hair. There's like, I read like there's for some people, I know for some people works fine. But like I read this whole Wall Street Journal article. Like there's like a not small cohort of people that it like ruins their lives. It just completely ruins their lives. Psychiatric side effects that never go away. Sexual side effects that don't go away. Like it just, and you're just like, man, that's your hair, right? Like it's not like it's, look, I'll run some risks if I'm like, okay, I've got exploding heart syndrome and I'm going to die if I don't take this.
Yeah.
What, like there's a risk benefit calculus here, but like for some stuff, it's like I would like a vanity medicine. It's like, you might kill yourself. I'll give it a whirl.
It's like, what? It's like if you got a facelift, you also have to play Russian roulette. Like,
yeah, man.
Like fucked up, dude. No, I wouldn't get it then.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
All right, this story comes from The Independent. This is good news. Gen Z men are moving away from MAGA in droves. According to polls, economic concerns and growing disenchantment with both parties is draining support for Trump among Gen Z young men, a key block of support during the 2024 election. I have some thoughts about this, Cecil. What do you think about this?
I feel like this very particularly to me shows, one, we don't have a lot of political literacy in this country to understand great political ideas, even small political ideas. I think that there's not enough political literacy for us to, as voters, be as informed as we should be when we're looking for things that would maybe help us and other people. But I also think that this points to something that we said, gosh, right after the election, and this was something that we sort of, I think, talked about relatively quickly, which was, while the Democrats made a bunch of missteps, they did a bunch of things that were wrong, and they did a bunch of, they pushed through things that they shouldn't have. They made some decisions based on running people that they probably shouldn't have. They stuck with certain things that they definitely shouldn't have stuck with. I think that Kamala Harris should have separated herself from Joe Biden's policies much more vociferously, especially the unpopular ones that were there. Definitely should have done that. I think like both sides in many ways are culpable when it comes to our foreign policy, especially when it comes to Gaza. So I think there's a lot of real problems with our political structure in general. But I also think that there is a bunch of people in the United States that is looking towards the politics to fix problems, and they're shutting the switch off and turning it back on, just trying to reboot the machine. And this, to me, sort of says they're at the point to do it again, which is what we had thought might happen, right? Is that these problems aren't going to get fixed. There's going to be a group of people in this country that see this and say there's a bunch of populist issues economic issues, et cetera, that are not going to be fixed by this. And they're going to go and flip that switch afterwards again. And so I think that this sort of plays into the idea, not so much that that Gen Z is rejecting MAGA in the sense that I don't think they care as much. I think what they want is they want several problems fixed. And the first person to fix those problems is going to capture them. Just that I don't think there's a lot of people in government that are willing to fix the problems that they have, which are very economic based.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And I immediately, when I read this, I immediately thought of your flipping the switch analogy. I immediately was like, yeah, that's probably true. Like, people are just walking around toggling shit, like in a desperate attempt to like, because we don't know what it is on IT is a great example. We don't know how anything works. We just know that sometimes if you turn it off and turn it back on again, it might work. And we're not sure why, but let's give it a whirl. But I also want to float a couple of ideas past you, because I do think that there's this like I have a broader philosophical concern that we are living in a moment where young people specifically are sort of living without a sense of cohesive and communal connection and purpose and sort of common philosophy that is sort of new. Like, and what I mean by that is that, like, I think that in times past, and times past not being all that long ago, there was sort of a broader sense of who we were collectively as a nation, as a people, as a culture. We had differences, stark differences, major differences for sure. But I think that like we've moved into a space where we're living ironically and nihilistically, and that like people are feeling less connected, more lonely, less purpose driven in terms of like their connection to other people, to their community, etc. And I think that like part of what has happened is people voted based on that, right? Like the Republican Party really, I think, and J.D. Vance is a great example. Like, look at the way he tweets. Look at the flippancy of this sort of like administration and their sort of like troll culture policies. I think that really appealed to a lot of people because it was fun and it was funny and it was like, yeah, fucking like, let's do it, man. Like this matches the vibe, right? This connects to the vibe. But none of that lack of seriousness doesn't solve problems. It causes a lot of problems. It breaks a lot of stuff. And I think that there's been people who are like, wait, we kind of thought this was going to be fun and funny. And like, now we're like understanding like the danger of living nihilistically or ironically, or like, let's just break shit and like tear it down and rebuild it. And like all that stuff sounds revolutionary and kind of cool and like makes for a fine meme, but none of that stuff actually solves anybody's day-to-day problems. And it will only exacerbate them. And I wonder if people are waking up to the dangers of a troll-based political philosophy. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I also wonder too, because you've mentioned this multiple times about a shared narrative that we used to share, right? The evening news is one of the examples you've used in the past, is that there's no such thing as an evening news like we knew it when we were growing up. An evening news for us was Tom Brokaw. He would get on, or whoever was before him, Ted Koppel, et cetera. These people would come on and they would have a very specific show that was a world news show. It was like an hour long and it was on a very specific channel. I think it was ABC, and it was on every single day of the week. And there was this sort of common narrative that was spread across the country and across the world. There was 5 or 6 major newspapers, and all those newspapers had a very specific set of stories that they covered. Editorial desks in that time were very powerful. Now, we don't have as many editorial desks. What we have is just a flood of information. And then we get to pick and choose and curate those feeds based on what information we want to see.
Right.
And that's a very different world to live in. So we don't have that common shared narrative. So I wonder if that plays into the thing that you're talking about here, where, you know, we just don't have, they're thinking it's a trolling thing, but really there's just no way to connect any of us together to sort of make a cohesive movement to do to create a political structure and have political will that could help a greater number of people, because everybody's so individual nowadays.
Yeah, I think there's a real appeal to, and I'm guilty of it as well, there's a real appeal to, but there's also a real danger to this sort of like algorithmically bespoke culture that we've created for ourselves. Because it is so individuated, it is also necessarily isolating. And I think that, I think of like, if you take a step back, if you kind of like don't buy the argument, like take a step back and think about music. I think music is a good example. When we were growing up, let's say the 90s, even the early 2000s, right? You listened to a handful of radio stations, right? Oh, I listened to the country station. Well, there's two out here in Chicago. There were two major country stations. You might listen to the rock station. Okay, well, you had your alternative rock station, your classic rock station, and then you're like what we called out here like a hard rock station, which kind of played like a mix of different things. You listened. There was like a limited number of choices, and everybody kind of like understood what the popular music was of the time. And you like maybe you selected a genre, maybe you bounced between like the pop music or dance station and the rock station or whatever. But we were sharing broadly this same experience. We knew who the DJs were. The music was curated by a certain group, oftentimes by big labels. There were big problems with it. I'm not saying that this was always better, right? But like you would come together. I remember like as young people, one of the first questions you'd find out as young people, like, what kind of music do you listen to? That question doesn't even really make sense for people anymore because all of your music is now individually curated and algorithmically curated. And like, we aren't sharing like a radio station. We're not sharing a world anymore that like we connect and bond together and form communities around. The lack of all of those things, I think, is aggregative. It is not aggregative in a positive way. I think aggregative in a way that like contributes to that loneliness epidemic that we're experiencing. And the loneliness epidemic is real. Like people are like, it doesn't really matter anymore what age group you fall into. For the most part, people are experiencing more rather than less loneliness, less communal activity, less communal connection. I think our media used to be a point that we would bond over. You know, like I said, hey, what music do you listen to? That was a legit question. The question kind of doesn't make sense anymore. When I think of the music I listen to, it's like, yeah, I listen to my Spotify recommendations or the things I specifically chose and sourced and picked. And like what I listened to this week, Cecil, is going to be so different than what you listened to this week. But when we were 25, it wasn't.
No,
you know,
it was shared. Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting.
We have so many less shared experiences like that. And I wonder if that's kind of pulling us apart and makes us easy pickings. I'll tell you what, if I was a foreign actor in Russia or China, I was in a more collectivist culture, I would see the individualism culture of America as a major weak point that I could drive wedges into.
Sure. I wonder too, you mentioned the sort of politics of trolling. I wonder how many of these people, and I don't know what the number is, right? I don't know, but I know that there is a group of people out there now that are upset very specifically with how certain portions of the government are acting, even though everybody who was watching knew exactly what they were going to do when they took office, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that they were going to do a bunch of these things. And we said it out loud. They even had a plan that they wrote up. It's not like they didn't write up a plan that they gave to us ahead of time. But what I think is interesting is that I know there are people, especially in this group cohort, that dislike how, let's just pick something like how Homeland Security is acting, how they're going out and capturing people and deporting people and sometimes capturing the wrong people and sometimes capturing people who've been here for a long time that have done nothing except for, just live here and follow all the rules, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a lot of pushback, I think. Ethically, people are upset with how that's going. And I wonder if this is the moment where people realize that trolling does have real consequences in the world, where when you decide to pick somebody who's going to be a troll, that they're not going to have the best interest of everybody at heart, and that breaking things sometimes isn't as fun as it sounds.
Yeah. Like treating our government like a fucking rage room.
Yeah.
Is a bad call.
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, to me, is the perfect example of somebody who is suddenly stunned by the inevitable consequences of her own fucking actions.
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is out on a fucking nationwide press tour basically apologizing and saying like, hey, you know what? Like I was a part of this like crazy radicalization culture that like we created and maintained and cultivated and amplified. And it turns out that didn't accomplish the things I wanted it to accomplish. So now I'm fucking sad about it. And nobody should feel sorry for Marjorie Taylor Greene. But she is a really interesting, I've been following it so closely. She's a really interesting example to me of somebody who's like, wow, that was a bad idea. And it's like, yeah, literally everybody who had any thoughts.
Everybody knew
fucking knew it, man.
Everybody knew it, man. Everybody knew it was a bad idea. The only people who didn't. And then I think even people on the other side knew it was a bad idea. They just were happy for it. They wanted the lulls, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like if your goal of politics is not to serve people, but to troll people.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? So yeah, I'm glad to see these Gen Z dudes like fucking come on over. We'll see what happens.
What you have to do. I'm going to read a part of this just so people know that what their stances are. It says, young Americans are sending a clear message that the systems and institutions meant to support them no longer feel stable, fair, or responsive to this generation. This is a quote from a person who's a polling director at Harvard Institute of Politics. It says, their trust in democracy, the economy, and even each other is fraying, not because they are disengaged, but because they feel unheard and unprotected in a moment of profound uncertainty. This should be what the Democrats cut out and put on their wall and say, how do I fix that? How do I fix that? Because this isn't Gen Z. This isn't, dude, this isn't just Gen Z. This is everybody. This is every single American. If you could distill what the things that you've lost as a group, the politicians, the things that you've lost as a group, and the things that make it so every day people recognize and think that you are doing things only to enrich you or your friends and not anyone else. This is the thing, right? This is it. Cut this out. Hang this tweet on your wall or whatever, and then never, ever, ever stop looking at it. You know, this is the thing that Homer has over his desk with a picture of his fucking daughters or whatever. You know, it's like, that's what you need. You got to have it. You got to stare at it every day because this is how you're going to win. If you're going to win next time, if you're going to sweep anything, if you're going to do any of that stuff, you got to address this because this is not a Gen Z problem. This is an America problem.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with that more. I would just yes and that by saying, we pretend a lot that we don't know what motivates people, but yes, we do.
Yeah.
What motivates people is like their sense of alienation and disaffection and disconnection to an ability to get ahead, provide for themselves and provide for their families.
Yeah.
If people don't feel like they have those basic opportunities, then they burn the system down.
Yeah.
Like they got the fucking, that's when the guillotines come out, man.
Yeah.
You can't keep getting away with it. You can't keep getting away with it.
All right, this next story is from the New Republic. The worst thing about Elon Musk is that he got away with all of it. His reign of terror didn't end after he bought the 2024 election. There's a fucking awesome picture that is associated. If you guys get a chance.
Oh, yeah.
There is a picture of Elon Musk sweating from like every pore and pores newly created in what appears to be a laboratory wearing a fucking X armband reminiscent in a fucking laboratory and drooling as he, you know, fucking concocts some Brave New World.
It looks like
shit.
He's got a colon and a brain he's sticking his fingers in. He's got electrodes on it. It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
It is nuts. This article is very much what it sounds like. You know, Elon Musk fucking got away with it. And it's kind of unreal. I really did. I'm a fool and I'm an optimist in my dark secret heart, Cecil. So I guess I thought that there would be some comeuppance. I really thought like, oh, well, you know what? This is going to fucking tank Tesla. Who the fuck's going to buy a Tesla now? And Tesla's doing fine. Tesla sold like a record number of Model fucking Ys or whatever last quarter. I just read something about it yesterday. Like SpaceX is making, you know, $80 gajillion a second or something on government fucking contracts and nonsense.
Yeah, and he went in and tore out all the regulations on anything he wanted to. So,
he just fucking got away with the whole thing. Like
he paid
got away with the whole
$250 million,
thing.
$250 million bucks, so he could roll into the government and make billions. I mean, this is a great return on investment. It's a wonderful return on investment. Suddenly you get all kinds of government contracts. You get to pull out any kind of regulation. You get to make it look. The other thing, too, that these guys do, they have a very specific plan. All these rich billionaires, they all say the same thing. And I have been introduced to many rich billionaires listening to them on Joe Rogan for the other show I do, the No Rogan Experience, right? So I do this other show. It's a whole show where I have to listen to Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan is constantly entertaining billionaires on his platform. They come on and they have a conversation with him. And every single one of these billionaires tries to do the same thing. They try to deregulate the government so they can make more money, and they try to make it so that tax dollars that you spend, they try to convince you of this. Any tax dollars you spend are essentially wasted. Elon Musk did this an entire episode where he talked about homelessness in San Francisco and other places. He made it seem like all the money, and Joe just parrots this constantly, tells you they spent all these billions of dollars and they're still homeless people is what he'll say. And so he's basically saying that money's wasted. We shouldn't be spending that money on homeless people at all. Instead, that money should just What's the next thing? And the next thing is it should just go back in the billionaires' pockets and we shouldn't trace them down for taxes. That's what we've been doing. Mark Andreessen came on and said we need to basically gut the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This is a thing that protects you, the person out there, from him. And he's like, no, man, get rid of that thing. You don't need it. It's Elizabeth Warren's pet project and we should get rid of it. And Joe's like, wow, man. And then all of his dumbass listeners think it's the government trying to pull one over on you when it's literally the protections that you have against people like Mark Andreessen and others. They do this all the time. They try to convince you government is bad. We shouldn't be paying for government. All government spending is waste. They try to do this over and over and over again, and they have a big mouthpiece, so it gets in the zeitgeist. Everybody hears about it. Look at what they did. He literally went in to take down USAID so he could convince you how badly this money was being spent. And Joe Rogan, for the last year, has never shut up about how much money we were wasting, billions of dollars we were wasting on USAID. He hasn't shut up about it. They want to discredit all kinds of government, and they're doing it constantly. And Elon Musk's foray into government was literally with that goal.
Yeah. The Elon Musk and the CFPB is such a good example to me, because if you walk around, it's just like fucking the Affordable Care Act, which we did get an admonishment from a listener not to call it Obamacare. And I don't agree with that. I think we should give credit where credit is due. I know it's become a pejorative, but I think we can take that back. I think we should take it back. But it's a lot like the Affordable Care Act. If you walk around and tell people, hey, here's the things that the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, does. Everybody that buys anything ever is 100% in favor of it, right? The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau came about as a direct response to the 2008 financial crisis that devastated the global economy. And some very smart people got in a room and they said, we should not let that happen again. Maybe there should be some regulations that help to prevent that. And maybe consumers shouldn't be the ones who eat shit when all this stuff happens. What should we do? And they put some rules in place. And those rules have not destroyed the country, right? They have not. These guys always talk like these regulations are killing business. I don't know, man. That's not what I see. I look at they're constantly talking about how all these regulations, they're going to kill the banking industry. The banking industry is doing very well, thank you.
Yeah.
Chase is not out of business. Bank of America is doing just fine. That is not. And if you look at the banks, like some of the regional banks, like Silicon Valley Bank that did fold, it didn't fold because of regulation. It didn't get over-regulated and then it got crushed. It made bad, high-risk decisions that burned that bank. That's why that bank folded. So we look at this stuff and we're like, well, we should probably strip this stuff. Well, you think the fucking billionaires who are in charge of the system, the financial system, have your best interests at heart? Do you really think that that's the case? But he literally bought, like you said, he's got the biggest mouthpiece. He bought it. He bought the mouthpiece. It's so crazy because there's just so many reasons not to trust this. And everybody is like, well, I mean, it makes a lot of sense what he's saying. It makes no sense what he's saying. None of the things he says make any sense. Why would you think this guy has anybody's best interest at heart but his own? He only has his own best interest at heart. And every single action that he's undertaken has been self-interested only. Only.
Yeah.
Only. What do you guys, hey, everybody, what are you getting out of SpaceX? What are you getting out of him having essentially a monopoly on Defense Department contracts to put defense satellites and other satellites into orbit? Like consolidating all of that into one private company. What are you getting out of that as a private citizen? Are you on Mars? Right? Are you getting fucking jerked off by a Venusian right now? How is your life changed for the better? Like, nobody can answer that question ever. But they're just like, I don't know, man. He's really an innovator. Like, an innovator for what? For what? Electric cars we fucking took all the subsidies away from? Get the fuck out of here. What is happening?
Totinos. Start the music right. Totinos. How did you know? Totinos. Everybody's talking about Totinos. Hot pizza rolls and not burritos.
Thank you.
Feminine pizza bag.
This is fucking wild, Cecil, in part because of where it comes from. This comes from Reason.com. Reason is an aggressively right-wing source.
It's a libertarian source, and they have been for years. Yeah.
Could the feds throw you in jail for merely filming ICE immigration raids? Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said videotaping agents was violence, but Border Patrol brought a film crew to Chicago area raids.
It's so funny that they're like, you can't do this, but we will do this. We will instead. They're saying that filming them, following them, and then possibly filming them to dox them is the real issue. That's the real problem. And you're like, dude, you're filming these people. You're following them around. You're doing all the things that you're saying are very specifically putting them in danger. You're doing it and then producing it with a fucking soundtrack. Get the fuck out of here.
I know, man. They making fucking music videos out of this.
Yeah, they're making music videos that people tell them, don't use my music or don't use my likeness or don't use my statement. All these people have to come out and say this stuff because genuinely the ISIS, they are still trolling, right? Like we were talking about in the first story, they're still doing it. They're still doing the trolling. They're like, ha, 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 look at these people. We're marching them out of the country. Look at what we're doing. And there are a group of people out there who are very happy for this, but I think there's a growing number of people who are disgusted by it. And the thing is that none of this stuff, this is where you have to take the libertarian by his lapels and you have to shake them like a baby.
Yes.
You have to just shake and shake and shake and shake and shake because they probably voted for this. If you were to take these two candidates and put them side by side, they 100% voted for their economic stuff and didn't give a fuck about any of the social stuff. The problem is the social stuff is so abhorrent, even to people on the right, that it's just disgusting to them. We are in a situation now where there's so many leopards there's so many faces. There's just not enough leopards to eat. They're wandering around being like, I'm so full. I can barely roll to the next face. I can't even stand up anymore. My legs can't support my giant weight. I can't. I have to be wheeled face to face.
Those fucking it's like the fat squirrels when the cicadas come out, you know, they're just like
they're just laying there and they reach over and grab one and eat it. It's like me and Totina's pizza rolls. You know?
God, fucking.
I hate pizza rolls. Don't send me a message. They're gross.
Pizza rolls, I would eat them.
I
would
not eat a pizza roll.
Here's the thing. They're not good. I'll eat like 100 of them.
You know what I will eat, though?
100 of them.
You know what I will eat, Tom?
What's that?
I will eat a pizza puff.
Dude, I literally just read a whole, or Haley actually read it to me, a whole article about the pizza puff. I had no idea it was a hyper regional food. It's not just Chicago. It's not just like Chicago area. It's Chicago only. They don't really exist in the suburbs the same way.
That's amazing, dude. Yeah, I get them out here sometimes. You can get them.
But like they're not as ubiquitous. They're when I was growing up
anywhere in Chicago. But yeah,
when I was growing up in Chicago, I never thought about the pizza puff as being a local regional thing. And I was just thinking the other day, unless I go to a really specific kind of place, Chicago, you can get them fucking anywhere. Yeah. when you're in the burbs, you got to go to a very specific kind of like hot dog stand type
Yeah, it's got to
place.
be like in a beef stand or whatever
Right.
to get one. Yeah.
And then you can get a pizza puff. And if you leave Chicagoland, you're not getting a fucking pizza puff. That's not a thing you can have.
There's multiple. It's a terrible food. It's not a good food, but I still eat it. If it's on the menu, I'm probably going to order one as my appetizer.
So if you guys don't know what a pizza puff is actually a tortilla, believe it or not. I didn't know this. It's a tortilla that is packed full of like sauce and cheese, and then often like what we would think of as a pizza topping, sausage or pepperoni. Would be the only things that I would ever
sausage mostly.
consider.
It's very, and it's very little. It's not like it's filled with sausage. It's tiny amount.
It's got
mostly
like
cheese.
Ghosts of sausage,
Yeah, it's
right?
mostly cheese. Yeah.
So it's cheese and sauce, and then it's actually like a tortilla, and then it's wrapped up, and then it's deep fried.
It's deep fried. Now, these are sold frozen, so most of the ones that you get at a store would be just taken from the freezer section and dropped right in.
And when you deep fry it, the tortilla becomes like almost like a puffed,
it's like
kind
it's
of
like a
flaky
pastry
thing.
It's like a pastry. Yeah.
And then the interior is whatever the temperature of the fry oil is times 9.
Yeah.
Somehow,
oh my God.
It's the hottest thing that's like you could sacrifice a virgin into one of these things. Like you could appease the fucking sun god just by if you bite one within 45 minutes of it having been cooked, you are going to shred all of the interior of your mouth forever.
And that's a good thing, because when you bite into it, it turns into a volcano, and then a guy reaches in, pulls your heart out, and then takes he puts a stint in there, and then he puts it back in. So it's like really nice. You get that guy who shock T-Days your heart out, and then he puts a stint on either side, and he shoves it, because you're going to need one if you eat one of these. Yeah.
Hottest food in the entire world. Yeah. So good. And what's crazy too is it's actually a pretty big piece of food, and they're sold as an appetizer.
Look at tiny, it's just a big piece of food though.
It's like a huge
it's like a sandwich
food.
Size. Like, and you're like, I'm gonna eat that before I eat my sandwich.
Yeah, it's got to be like 2,000 calories. Like
that is so
huge...
like Chicago though,
where
you're
just
like,
dude.
I'm gonna eat like I'll eat an Italian beef before I have my steak.
God, I fucking love those things.
I do too, man.
It's just a giant pizza roll.
Yeah, I'm not. That's why I was saying it's stupid for me to shit on a pizza roll.
I know,
but pizza rolls I think are in like wonton wrappers or something.
I think they are in wonton wrappers, and they're usually baked and not fried.
Yeah,
because you're baking.
I'm just
it
not
at
a
home.
fan. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, no. Here's the thing: they are not good. They're kind of chewy.
Yeah,
and they're
not
like
for
all
me.
the ingredients are low, and I'll eat 100 of them. If you put them on a baking sheet, I'll be like, I'll have that whole baking sheet. 100%.
I can do the same thing with any cookie. I would say pretty much any cookie that's on a plate, I will probably eat until I can't stop eating them. If they're near me, I will just keep eating the cookies. Dude, I have to stop.
I have the same problem.
I have to throw them outside. I have to like take them and throw them like a discus. I have to like run outside and just chuck them into the fucking yard or something.
Nothing for, I could, without feeling weird about it, except for that I know I should feel weird about it, I could comfortably just open the whole package of Oreos and eat the whole package of Oreos and be like, yeah, I ate a pound of Oreos. That's
when
fine.
I was working at a plumbing supply house. This was like years and years and years ago. And I'd work like long hours and it'd be a hard day.
Yeah.
I remember when I was working there, and I was skinny nothing back then. I was like a tiny little guy. I was really thin. And there was no way I could gain weight when I worked there because I was on my feet all day, working hard all day.
Yeah.
Just constantly, like, I couldn't even put enough calories in my body to sustain. And I remember there would be multiple days where I'd be like, I'm hungry for lunch. And I would buy a thing of Oreos and a thing of half and half. And I would eat that. And now I'm probably going to die in a year. But I enjoyed that. I mean, fine. I enjoyed it. I liked it when I was a kid. I thought
if you could just dust my trans fats with sugar and cocoa powder, that's fine. Put them right in my arteries.
I probably have an entire Oreo lodged in a vein somewhere. I'm sure I do. An entire one. They're going to be performing CPR to me. I'm going to be shooting cookies out of my mouth.
Like a fucking Pez dispenser, man.
It's amazing. They just have to pour milk in my veins to get it so it softens up enough.
We gotta soften it up. I need some half and half stat.
Get some whole milk in here.
Are you familiar with when the first gender-affirming clinic that did transition surgeries existed?
I am not aware of when that existed.
Magnus Hirschfeld, the Hirschfeld Clinic in 1930, was the first trans clinic. They performed surgeries. It was a safe place for trans and LGBTQ folks. Do you know what happened after they built a medical library of information researching the complexities of sexuality and human gender?
I don't know what happened.
It was the first Nazi book burning, when they burned the entire library saying that it was sexually explicit material and then executed half the people involved. Because first they came for the trans kids.
Our from LGBTQ Nation, an HIV expert at the CDC was asked to scrub data on trans people. He quit instead. I thought about my transgender patients and how I would face them. So this was part of the Doge we just talked about with Elon Musk. This was part of the Doge sort of clear out, where he went around and was like, hey, you got to write down a fucking bullet point list of 5 things that you do here all day. And, you know, we've got to.
What is awesome is in the story, they very specifically asked the guy, and the guy says, yeah, they wanted me to do 5 bullet points on one. And we were ordered to send in 5 bullet points a week describing our accomplishments during the previous week or face termination. And he said that management provided careful guidance about how to craft these 5 bullet points to satisfy the AI model that would presumably be reading them for over 1 million civilian government employees. So they weren't even going to read them. They were going to hand it off to AI.
Yeah.
They didn't even take the job seriously enough to read them themselves.
This
First
is
off,
what we
it's busy
want.
work. It's also busy work. It's
also
so
busy work.
stupid.
Yeah. Like we're going to ask people who are desperately trying to keep other human beings alive to satisfy our robot overlords first.
It's amazing.
That's what we're doing.
God, it's
That's
so crazy.
like we're doing that on purpose, guys.
So crazy.
What the fuck? Cecil, I will tell you this, and I mean it with absolute sincerity, dude. If somebody walks up to me and is like, do you want the red pill or blue pill? I'm like, give me the fucking blue pill. Never give me the red. I'll stick that red pill right up your ass. I do not want it.
I want the red if it gets me out of here. Like,
well, you know what? That's a good point, actually. Like, that's a good point. I guess I was thinking we were like working toward that now, but
I
right.
want the red if it takes me back to 1999 or whatever. That's fucking amazing. Give me the red. But if the red is we're moving forward, fast forwarding into AI culture, it's like, dude, I'll take the blue pill and I'll load it into a revolver. The other thing about this article, just really quickly, the other thing about this article is that they very specifically, this person had already written an entire paper that talked about HIV. It also talked about trans people. It was a whole paper that very specifically talked about it. And they said, you need to take out all the trans people stuff that's in this paper because we're not going to let you publish anything that has this in there. And he resigned. He's like, I'm not going to do that. And here's the thing. When you hear that they were literally trying to alter medical stats based on ideology, this is the thing that everybody else has been talking about for so long. They've been saying they're trying to change the medical stats and the medical ideas to based on ideology. Like, here's a clear example of them actually doing it, but you're blaming the other side for it. They're saying that's a woke thing that happens. That's not the truth. They're just publishing medical stuff. Here, they're trying to actively suppress stats because they don't want to admit that trans people exist. That's suppression of information. And that's the thing you've been crying about forever that you never had proof of, and now you do, and you're going to turn the other way.
Yeah, and it's 100% that. And to add to that, it is also proof positive. This is just ironclad evidence that they are willing to let certain people in this country die.
Yes, absolutely, right? Tom.
They are, because what these papers, what all of this research does that acknowledges the existence of really any of these minority groups that are being singled out under DEI restrictions on reality, right? Like we're recognizing that certain population groups are at higher risk, right? We know certain population groups are at higher risk for any number of different like illnesses and, social effects and environmental effects. And these things are being studied because if we know what population groups are more affected than others, then we can take specific and targeted action to reduce that impact within that social group, within that cultural group, within that biological or ethnic group, whatever's being studied. But if we can't do that, those people just die.
Yeah.
That's how that works. Those people get to just die. So the administration isn't just saying, hey, we want to, like flatten the curve of, they're not saying it. What they're saying is, let's not look into it because we don't want to fix it.
Yeah.
Because we want women to die, and we want people of color to die, and we want gay people to die, and we want trans people to die because they're not the right kind of people.
Yep.
Those are not the people that matter.
You're such fucking dopes. You are not serious figures. You are not serious people.
This story is from The Hill. Congress looks to reclaim relevance after ceding power to the White House. So this is specifically talking about the enormous number of people who are quitting. I think there's 43 people, 19 Democrats, 24 Republicans, if I'm not mistaken, that are leaving Congress, quitting Congress. And that creates an opportunity for a bunch of new names, new people, new blood to get injected into the system. And a bunch of them are like, yeah, we would actually like to be Congress. We'd like to, we're supposed to have the power of the purse. Maybe we should have that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, fucking, here's the thing, dude. I feel very cynical. I'll believe it when you do it. I'll believe it when you don't have that fucking dick all the way down in the back of your throat, man. When your mascara isn't running and you're not clucking like a fucking chicken, then I'll believe it. Until then, you're lying to me.
Yeah. And I think that the thing is that I think that they had an idea how this was going to go, and they were still going to be in power some way because they're stupid. Yes. I think that that's probably what happened, because you can't look at the plans they had and not realize that this isn't all about executive authority, right? You can't look at all the things that they had planned to do and suddenly think, well, it's going to be about the three branches of government all working together. No, because every single time the three branches of government are the executive decides something, the Congress supports it and never says anything different, except for like one or two random guys on occasion that are part of this group that voice some opinion because it directly affects them. So they're the only ones that say something different, but all the rest of them all fall in line. And the same thing happens with the Supreme Court. So what you did was you already created a Supreme Court of yes people. They were all going to say yes to whatever you wanted based on essentially a super majority. There's nothing you can do to stop them. I mean, on occasion, once in a while, one of them will vote against the majority, and it still doesn't even matter, right? It's still a 5-4 decision for the bad guys, right? So they're just capitulating constantly, and on occasion, someone can have some sort of moral stance that doesn't matter because it's still the overall thing still went through. And then Congress does the exact same thing. On occasion, someone can stand up and vociferously scream about how bad this is, but they're only doing it performatively for their fucking constituents who really care about this issue. And the rest of the Congress votes exactly how the other person wanted. So they've created a system that basically feeds power up as much as possible. And now they're complaining about it. Yeah, now they're like, oh man, I don't know. And you're like, dude, and either you're stupid and you fucking didn't realize how stupid you were because it was fucking boldly spelled out in Project 2025, or you're a fucking liar. Which is it? Are you stupid or are you a liar? Because I don't see a third option. What's your third option, man? You were surprised? Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, like, I think like what these guys are surprised about is they thought, hey, if I fucking play along, then you'll give me the scraps from the table.
Yeah.
And now they're mad that they're not getting the scraps that they were fucking promised, right? So they were a good little soldier. They did all of the stuff that they were told to do. And they were like, oh, look, certainly I ceded my authority to an authoritarian executive branch. And obviously any authoritarian executive that would seek to capture Congress's authority necessarily and by definition then doesn't actually respect the separation of powers. But I thought you guys would respect me and get the fuck out of here. Built into the very idea of a power grab is the idea that the person grabbing power has no respect for anybody else and doesn't want you to have any of that power.
Yeah.
So you don't get to say, but I thought me, but I thought what about, like all that's nothing. All of that is exactly and only the thing that you should expect to have happen when you give a guy who wants power.
Yeah.
That's it. So like all of these dumbass fucking crybaby dipshits who are like, well, I thought we wouldn't be. Go lay down. Go fucking lay down.
Yeah, man.
Bad congressman. Bad congresswoman.
One of them said this is an operative that's speaking under anonymity, says a conference that had Andy Harris, Chip Roy, and Brian Fitzpatrick and Don Bacon are never going to produce meaningful legislation on things like that, on things that can pass with all Republican support. It's never going to happen. It's part of why all the serious people are fucking leaving, the operative said. And you're like, dude, there was never serious people in your party anyway. If they were willing to capitulate to Trump, and they were willing to watch him literally lead an entire group of people to try to overthrow the government so he could stay in power last time, and you guys didn't do anything about it, there's not a serious person amongst you. Don't pretend that for a moment there was a serious person. There wasn't one. Yep. You guys were masquerading as serious people, and you have been for a decade.
Yeah, man. If January, like there was a million other things, a million, more than we can even remember together, right? If we put all of our fucking heads together, we could not remember all of the fucking scandalous bullshit, right? But if just January 6th was not the moment, if that was not the thing that did it for you. And like January 7th, there were a bunch of people that I thought like, okay, maybe they snapped back to reality. Yep. They fucking stood there and they gave speeches, and then they later fucking checked the fucking wind direction. They fucking put their wet finger in the air and they're like, oh, you know what?
Sorry.
Turns out I got to fucking eat those words. Yep. What do you want me to do, sir? Yes, sir. All right. I'm on all fours. Just stick it in however you like it.
It's a mystery how fast those people just immediately change their tune. You had Goiter McGoiterson. What's his name? McConnell.
Mitch McConnell, yeah.
McConnell is out there. He's shitting on him. You have all these other people who are literally giving speeches that are like, this is not how we act. And then a week later, everybody's like, well, actually, I think it was just a tour group. Like, it's crazy, man.
I know. I would think that if you had any integrity at all and you stood up and you gave a speech like a lot of these guys gave, and you denounced this kind of like, you know, violence and the destruction of democracy, like these are things that they were denouncing. It would be difficult if you had any integrity whatsoever to then eat those words, because they're unequivocal words. These are words about values. These are words about like structural systems. These aren't like, hey, I changed my mind. It turns out actually I don't value democracy.
Yeah.
What? What is happening, dude?
The people who stood against Trump are all gone, right? Mitt Romney, out. He's no longer there. Liz Cheney, out.
Gone.
Adam Kinzinger, out.
Yeah.
All those people who stood up to him, who
that
said
guy
that
died
was, what's that?
The guy that died, who he was dying of cancer. He flew back to cast a vote. McCain, yeah.
John McCain, gone. Not many people did stand up to him, but anybody who did is gone. Those people are gone. The only one who's even bothered to stand up to him the tiniest bit has been like the two guys from Kentucky, right? Those are the guys that are basically like, one of them's Massey and the other one is Paul. Those are the two that have basically stood up to him in tiny ways, not in major ways, but in some ways they've stood up to him. And I guess now Marjorie Taylor Greene is also one of those people.
Who's quitting Congress too.
Who's quitting Congress. Like, that's one of the people who's leaving.
Right.
What's crazy is the operatives, like, that's a serious person to them. Throw this operative off a bridge. They're terrible. What is wrong with them?
I know. And like, I'm going to read to the very end of the article, because I think this is just like, if you had any hopes that this was anything, let me read the bottom of this article. So listen to what Tom Tillis actually says about this thing. The administration was a lot of change, a lot of it good change, okay, said Tom Tillis, but it's really caused people to back into their political corners. Frankly, I'm not optimistic about a lot of bipartisan work getting done in any of the politically thorny areas. I think people are going to move back into their corners. He's basically like, yeah, this is nothing. Nothing's going to change. Yeah. Tom Tillis is basically like, yeah, don't fucking count on anything getting any better.
I'm pretty sure, with respect, if there was some news about Jeff Epstein, I would have heard.
No, I don't know what rock you've been under. It was a huge story, and Jeff Epstein I have to tell you, he's gone. He's dead.
What do you mean?
He's dead.
He's dead.
He's dead.
Sorry, nice try. If Jeff...
This story's from Salon. Trump sent Mar-a-Lago masseuses on Epstein house calls. A new report from the Wall Street Journal dives into the origin of a rift between Trump and Epstein. fucking yikes, man. Like, Mar-a-Lago was sending 18-year-old girls, masseuses at 18, which, by the way, I don't know this for a fact, but like, at least in Illinois, you've got to go to school to be a licensed massage therapist. Like, you got to go to, you can't just like hang out your shingle and be like, yeah, I give rubbins. Hire me for a nice rubbin. That's not how that, like, you go to school to be a licensed massage therapist, and it doesn't take 5 minutes. It actually is like a program that you have to go through. There's a medical portion of it. There's a practical portion of it. There's hours you have to do. How the fuck is some 18-year-old a licensed massage therapist, man? And what are you sending 18-year-old girls to anybody's house? Like, anybody's house, so that somebody can take their clothes off? And what is happening? Even if it's just a massage, it is the sketchiest, least safe thing to ask an 18-year-old kid to fucking do. Holy shit.
First off, I think it's very weird that the club would do this anyway, right?
Yes.
So it says, this is a report that Salon is reporting on. I think it came out in the Wall Street Journal. It says, per the report published Tuesday, Trump sent young women who worked for Palm Beach Resort to Epstein's home. So it's not like they're sending him to a room on the place, right? It's not like you come in and you say, I'm at the golf course. I'm also going to have a spa day. I'm going to get somebody's going to pour some fucking wax on my face and tear off my eyebrows and fucking acid my skin and then paint all my different digits a different color. And then I'm also going to get a massage, right? There's not like a space there or even a private room where you can like rent a room for the day and just like relax in your spa day. And then someone comes by to give you like your foot bath and then maybe like a massage or something. Not that at all. This is his private home, right?
Yes.
So
Weird,
it is his
dude.
someone has to get in a car and go down the street to Jeffrey Epstein's private fucking estate that they sent the person who worked for Mar-a-Lago to, okay?
Yep.
If that doesn't sound fucking weird to everybody, you're fucking just do the blue pill thing or whatever it is that you need. Because that's super fucking weird, man. That is
Extra
weird
weird.
as shit. The other thing is that they kept this it says the resort kept this practice up for years, even though Epstein was not a member of the club. The outlet reported that the house calls went on, even as spa employees warned each other about Epstein. Employees told the paper that Epstein's known amongst staff for being sexually suggestive and exposing himself during the appointments. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell went to prison for sending girls to fucking Jeffrey Epstein to molest.
Yep.
She went to prison for what they did.
Yeah. Think about it another way. Like, I know that there are in-home massage therapy. Like, yeah, you can actually call and get a massage therapist to come to your home. That is a thing. But like, they are not 18-year-old girls, right? These are not teenagers that are showing up. And think about this too. If you are running Mar-a-Lago, if you're running a club, you want people to go to your club. What are you sending out calls for? Why are you dealing with out calls at all? That's fucking weird. What are you outsourcing people into people? You should want people to come to your spa. That's why you run a club. You run a club so people who are members show up and spend their fucking money at your club. What the fuck? Why can't they come to the club? What are they asking for? What is the reason somebody wants you, who are not a massage-only business, right? You're running a club. You're running Mar-a-Lago. Why are you also a fucking escort service? Because that's what this is describing. It's describing a fucking grotesque escort service. That's what this is describing.
And then and you're complicit in it for that long? Like, come on, man. Who are we kidding? You need to, at this point, there's a lot of things that are stacking up against you. Prove some of them aren't right. Prove some of them are wrong. Instead, you're just like, no, there's nothing to see here.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Get the actual fuck out of here. And I know that like the retort to this is, as soon as Trump found out that Epstein was being a creep, that he like fucking broke ties with him. But that's not actually what's reflected in the record. What's reflected in the record, it sounds like, is Epstein tried to hire away one of the victims who was working at the Mar-a-Lago, and Trump got mad that he hired an employee of his.
He got mad.
That's just him being like, hey, I owned that girl, not you. Holy shit, what? What is any of this?
I think I think the reason why they fucking wanted all this shit redacted and why they hid a bunch of shit and they haven't released everything yet, et cetera, is very specifically, and they went through to fucking remove his name because Trump is in these things.
Yeah,
Trump
man.
is in here. Trump is complicit with something in here, and he's trying to hide it, and he's been trying to hide it for a while. All right. That's going to wrap it up for this week. We're not going to have a funny show this week. We're going to have a funny show next week. It'll have a Vulgarity for Charity segment. It's going to be a whole thing. We're just going to be back on Monday with a full show, but we're going to leave you like we always do with the Skeptic's Creed.
Credulity is not a virtue. It's fortune cookie cutter mommy